Hello and welcome into this week's ARCA Series Rewind show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's ARCA Rewind, we're looking back at Sunday's Kentuckiana Ford Dealers 200 laps, 111 miles around the .555 mile Salem Speedway in Salem, Indiana, the 105th ARCA race at Salem. ARCA has been going to Salem since 1955, a long time, a long storied history of the ARCA Menard Series at Salem Speedway, and this was an interesting one. We talked about it on the preview show this morning, how weather would probably play a factor in this. I didn't think we would get the race in today at all. But while the weather didn't quite play out like the forecast said it would, the weather did still play a factor in determining this race. So we only had one caution in this race that wasn't for rain, and that was at lap 88. After getting started on time, mind you, I didn't think there was any way that was going to happen. I thought if we were getting the race in today, it was not going to start on time. We started at 2 o'clock under sunny skies, or well, sunny skies 5 minutes before 2 o'clock, and then rain pushed by to the northwest, barely missed the track. But it was sunny there around the green flag, and then became sunny again shortly after that rain pushed by. That one caution, though, at lap 88 was for a Ty Gibbs spin in turn 2. He did catch the 21 car of Sam Mayer just slightly in that incident as well. Then the only other caution in this race came at lap 97 when the rains finally did hit the track, and that would be the end of the race. They ran around for 4 laps under caution to make it to lap 101 to make the race official, and then that was the end of it. And the leader at the time was one Mr. Michael Self, leading 72 laps on the day en route to the victory. Carson Hocevar led the first 26 laps from the pole. Chandler Smith led 3 laps during that Ty Gibbs caution while he stayed out to lead a couple of laps and then came down to pit. But otherwise, it was all Michael Self today, and he had such a fast car. I don't know that anybody else had a chance in this race. Michael, once he took the lead, he was gone. Sam Mayer did come home in the second position once the race finally did conclude due to the rain. Carson Hocevar, after starting on the pole, landed in the third position. Chandler Smith in fourth, and Corey Heim came home in fifth, the last car on the lead lap. Michael Self at one point before the Ty Gibbs caution had lapped up to third place. After getting a free pass for that caution and a free pass for the rain caution, we ended up with 5 cars on the lead lap, but Michael had lapped up to the top 3. It was Michael Self, Sam Mayer, and Chandler Smith on the lead lap. Hocevar got the free pass on the Ty Gibbs caution. Heim got the free pass on the rain caution. Absolutely incredible drive out of Michael Self in this race. Rest of your top 10 were Ty Gibbs, Tanner Gray, Harrison Burton in the 15 car today. That was a last-minute driver change. Christian Eckes coming down with, it was reported initially that it was flu-like symptoms, and then I've seen in a couple other places now it's being called an undisclosed illness, so I'm not really sure what exactly happened to Christian Eckes overnight, but Harrison Burton got the call last night just before midnight. He was in Charlotte, got the call last night just before midnight to drive this 15 car, flew basically on a red-eye out to Salem and ran the race today. Had to start from the back due to a driver change, and with Salem being such a hard track to pass on, never could really make his way to the front. We know he had a fast car, and we know he can wheel a fast car. Unfortunately, with as tough as it is to pass at Salem, 8th was the best he could make. Joe Graff Jr. came home in the 9th position, and Brett Holmes rounded out the top 10. Final page 11th through 19th. Travis Braden, after getting in the wall at one point and sitting on pit road for a number of laps trying to effect repairs on the damage from getting into the wall, he came home in the 12th position, though, as we'll see when we get to the point standings, he had a very good points day, more or less because Christian Eckes wasn't in the race. I mean, you wouldn't expect him with a 12th place finish to have a great points day, but as we'll see when we get to the points, not all that bad for Travis Braden. All right, so that is your results for the Kentuckiana Ford Dealers 200. So we were able to catch up with Michael Self just a little bit ago, not at the track, but we were able to catch up with him on a video call and chat about this win as he was driving back to Charlotte. He was not driving. He wanted to make sure that I pointed that out, that he was not driving. He was not doing a FaceTime call while he was driving, so he wanted to make sure everybody knew that he was not doing that. So we'll go ahead and get to that interview now and see what Michael had to say about today's win. And we're now joined by Michael Self, winner of today's Kentuckiana Ford Dealers 200 from Salem, on his way back to Charlotte tonight. Michael, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Yeah, feeling pretty positive after the win, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You had quite the car out there today. Started from third, and what was it, lap 28 you took the lead, and after that, never really looked back. Just talk to us about how dominant that car was.
Yeah, I started fourth, actually, and it was, man. I mean, the 25 Sinclair Oil Toyota was just absolutely on rails. I mean, that had to have been the best short track car I've ever driven in my life. Shannon Rush and all the guys at Venture Motorsports just did such an incredible job of preparation, and then we came and tested. They knew our car was pretty good then. Even yesterday in practice, just knew we had a really, really good balance on the long run, and that's what we were looking forward to today. We didn't have a whole lot of qualifying speed or mock qualifying speed, and so qualifying fourth wasn't what we wanted, but also maybe something I expected. But we knew that if we could get that 20-25 lap mark, that we were going to be pretty good, and that's what showed. Because after that point, the car never fell off. It was just so rare at a place like Salem, as abrasive as it is, and it can just go so many different ways.
With the Ty Gibbs spin right in front of you there, what ended up being like 15 laps for the end of the race, what were you thinking in that moment after having been so dominant up to that point? Did you see your race flash in front of your eyes for a second?
No, not really. We were so good. At that point, it's just your race to blow. I mean, I knew that whether the rain came through, which we knew was close, or if we'd gone back to green, we were pretty confident in what we had. Just had to execute a good pit stop, which the guys did. And frankly, it was just everything that the team needed to do as a whole throughout the entire day. So we played a good strategy as a team, keeping our cars on the lead lap and keeping a lot of cars off the lead lap, and that gave us a little extra security for when the rain did come. And I think that was the right call to make, and just made it a little bit of an easy day for us.
Definitely. So after what happened last fall at this track for you, was this a little bit of a redemption for you coming back to Salem and just having a run like this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's more about kind of picking up where we left off in the fall, and I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get to finish that race that night because I felt like we were really strong and we had a really good car, and so that's what I look at more now. It's, you want to come back and capitalize on a place where I thought we were pretty good, and we did that today. So, throw everything else out the window, all the drama and all that happens, part of racing. We just want to go win races, and we were able to do that today in a really strong fashion, and that's what feels good, to do that and get the momentum built up behind our team.
Well, you've definitely got the winning races down. I don't think you can say you can't win on short tracks anymore, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to brush that one off. Trying to make sure that I get all the bases covered, so we'll see if we can keep it going here in the next few.
Definitely. All right. Well, Michael Self, your winner today from Salem. Michael, thanks as always for joining us.
Cool. Thanks for having me on.
And we want to thank Michael one more time for coming on and joining us. It's always great to chat to him. Michael, one of the nicest guys in the garage area, and it's always a pleasure to get to catch up with him and have a chat with him. All right, so let's look at the point standings following Salem. 3 races into the season for the ARCA Series, with Christian Eckes not being in the race. That drop kicks him all the way down to the 8th position now. Even Harrison Burton now up to the 7th position, now tied with Christian Eckes after subbing for Christian in this race. Travis Braden, though, moves into the points lead. We talked about him having a good points day. Again, mainly because Eckes wasn't in the race, and that's nothing against Travis Braden and that RFMS team. Just it wasn't a good day for them, so you wouldn't expect them to have a great points day. But because of the circumstances, they do find themselves as the points leaders now. With Michael Self closing in very quickly, he has erased that deficit that he had from Daytona. Now only 5 points back from Travis Braden. Brett Holmes currently sits in the third position, 20 points back. Joe Graff Jr. still stationary there in the fourth position, now 55 points behind Travis Braden. And Tommy Vi Jr. has now moved into the top 5. And 2 starts into the season, Chandler Smith now up to 6th in points. So with Chandler Smith running a partial schedule, I wasn't sure we'd ever see Chandler that high in the points, but that definitely cool to see there. We have, 4 Venturini drivers in the top 10 in points currently, and only 2 of them are full-time drivers. Technically, Michael Self's the only one that started every race now since Eckes wasn't in today's race. So some very interesting point standings right now. Brad Smith, your other full-time driver, all the way down to the 10th position now. Still holding on to a top 10 spot, though. Only 10 points, though, ahead of Corey Heim now, who sits back in the 11th position. But that's your point standings following the Kentuckiana Ford Dealers 200, and I believe that will do it for us on this ARCA Rewind show. Pole position coming up tomorrow evening, Monday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern at its usual time to catch up on everything that happened this weekend. And there was a bunch of stuff happening this weekend. Just about every series, if not every series that we cover, was in action this weekend. I know we had 2 NASCAR races, Cup and Xfinity. We had the ARCA race. We had IndyCar, F1, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and that's just what I can think of off the top of my head. There may have been 1 or 2 other races that we have for pole position as well. So lots to talk about on pole position this week. You will definitely want to tune in 8 p.m. Monday night to catch up on everything that happened this weekend, on a quick update for everything that happened this weekend. We don't go as in-depth as we do on these rewind shows, just a quick update on everything that happened this weekend in the world of motorsports. But if you haven't done it already, you need to go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. And while you're down there, why don't you hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video? It is much appreciated when you do. So with that, this has been the ARCA Menard Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.